Hello everyone. Today we'll be discussing a very important preclinical topic, that is model analysis, on the basis of which only we can fabricate our occlusal rims and do the teeth arrangement in clinical workflow as well as preclinical workflow. So this right now I have a edentulous maxillary model, and before starting the model analysis, we'll have to make at least 3 landmarks. That is the incisive papilla. Here you can see I'm just highlighting the outline of incisive papilla in the midline. Here after incisive papilla, we have to mark maxillary tuberosity. So I'm marking one point where the elevation of the tuberosity starts, one on this side and one on the other sides. We'll be marking our hamular notches at the posterior extension, and we'll be joining both of them. So right now I have made the maxillary. I have marked the maxillary tuberosities also. Now when we have made the incisive papilla, we have marked the incisive papilla, we have to first make a vertical line here, crossing exactly in the midpoint, and so the center of the papilla has to be marked by one vertical and a horizontal line. This is the cross line. We can appreciate the center of the papilla right now after marking this. The significance of this center is that according to Winkler, our position of our central incisor, that is the labial portion of the central incisor, should be 8 to 12 millimeter anterior to this. So if I take one point at the center of papilla, I'll mark a line. I'll take an average of 8 and 12, which comes out around 10 millimeters. So I'll be marking a point which is 10 millimeters ahead of this center. So it comes out around here. With the help of scale, now it is in the area of land area, as you can see. As you can appreciate here, we'll be making a horizontal mark. This line signifies that this is exactly 10 millimeters ahead of our center of incisive papilla. So this guides us that our maxillary occlusal rim will not go beyond this certain point when viewed in the bird eye view or top down view, and our labial surface of the maxillary anterior teeth will not go beyond, should not go ideally beyond this. Now another line that we start is, as you can see here, there's a posterior part of the papilla. So what we do is, if you have canine tubercles, it will be easier for you to delineate the prominence of the canine. But even if we do not have canine prominences here in the model, we'll be marking a horizontal line which will be passing through the posterior part of the incisive papilla. This line is popularly called as CPC line. And again, whenever I'm marking a horizontal line, I'll be extending it over to the land area as well. Every time, any line that I draw, it will be extended to the land area and further at the base, along the base of the cusp also. Because once the base plate is seated, we won't be able to look at any of the lines. Only the line extensions on the land area will be guiding us ahead. So I've just highlighted the same line. Now this line guides us as for the position of canine when we'll be placing, or for the maxillary rim, the curvature or the turn that the maxillary rim takes, it is around here. From here, the maxillary rim, it will start curving and lead to a straighter line in the posterior part. So here we can appreciate that this line is crossing the crest of the ridge at this point, and on this side around here. So this is the most prominent part on the crest of the ridge where the line is passing through. So we'll be marking 2 points here. Another thing, in the center of maxillary tuberosity, the most prominent part will be marking. Here also, the most prominent part will be marking. As you can see, these are the most two prominent areas, and we will be taking a point 3 to 4 millimeters buccal to this. So from the center of this, if I mark a 3 to 4 millimeter buccal, that is approximately here, and on this side, from the most prominent part of the maxillary tuberosity, 4 millimeters is here. So right now you can see there are 2 points which I have marked. We have to join this point, that is from the CPC line, the point which is bisecting the crest here, and the 3 to 4 mm buccal line from the maxillary tuberosity with the help of a scale. And here also I'll be extending this line on the land area. Here as well. Now the reference for taking 3 to 4 millimeter outside is Tanner knot. I'm just highlighting this line. Alright, so this is the posterior line of the model analysis. This will guide us that the center of the rim should ideally be there in between. This is the center of the occlusal rim posteriorly, and this will also guide us in teeth arrangement ahead. Now, as you can see on both the sides, we have our maxillary tuberosity which I have marked. Now, the most anterior area of the maxillary tuberosity is this, and on this side, this line. I'll be extending this anterior most portion and indexing the land area. What does this line signify? It signifies that this is the posterior most extent of the rim. That is, the maxillary rim will not come over the maxillary tuberosity because this is an elevation, and as per Sear axioms, we are not supposed to arrange the teeth on an elevated plane. So here, exactly here around, we'll be finishing our occlusal rim, and it will not go beyond this posteriorly. Even while arranging teeth, it will help us in guiding that the teeth should not go beyond this point. So the posterior teeth should be confined within this limitation. It also helps us in teeth selection, that is posterior teeth selection. Now, I'll be making a center line. This is to check the symmetry of the right side and the left side. Now all the lines, they have to be extended on to the base of the cast as well. The scale should be perpendicular to the base of the cast. So I have transferred all the lines which were marked extended to the land area to the base as well. So this completes my model analysis for the maxillary arch.